Ever wondered what it's like to be a modern-day Filipino warrior, ready to defend our nation at a moment's notice? We're not talking about mythical heroes or ancient battles. This is about you, your potential, your role in shaping the future of our armed forces of the Philippines. Today, we're going into the world of the reserve force, the unsung heroes of our military. These are the citizen soldiers, the everyday Filipinos, who balance civilian life with military service, ready to step up when duty calls. Whether you're a fresh-faced ROTC cadet, a seasoned veteran, or simply curious about what it means to be a reservist, this lesson is for you. We'll uncover the secrets of mobilization, demystify the different categories of reservists, and explore the vital role they play in safeguarding our nation. So, buckle up and get ready to discover your potential as a citizen soldier. This is your chance to become part of something bigger than yourself, to make a real difference in the defense of our beloved Philippines. What is the reserve force? Think of it as the bench of a basketball team. The players on the court are the active duty personnel, while the reserve force is made up of former military personnel and trained civilians who can be called upon when needed. They are a vital part of our national defense strategy. The role of the reserve force. The government has a fundamental duty to protect its people. In times of crisis or unrest, it may call upon all citizens, including the reserve force, to render military or civil service. This is where the reserve force plays a crucial role in our external defense and internal security operations. A brief history. From RA 7077 to RA 7898. Over the years, the role of the reserve force has evolved. Republic Act 7077, also known as the AFP Reservist Act, laid the foundation for the reserve force's structure and functions. Later, Republic Act 7898, or the AFP Modernization Act, further emphasized the importance of the reserve force in the overall defense plan. Reservist, your friendly neighborhood citizen soldier. Reservists are everyday Filipinos who have answered the call to serve their country. They're trained and ready to step up when needed, whether it's to assist in times of conflict or to help their communities during emergencies. Think of them as the Minutemen of the American Revolutionary War, ordinary citizens who could be called upon to defend their homes and country at a moment's notice. In our context, the reserve force is governed by Republic Act 7077, also known as the AFP Reservist Act of 1991. This law outlines how the reserve force is organized, trained, and utilized. It's your go-to guide for understanding the ins and outs of being a reservist. Civil auxiliary service, more than just military might. Now, let's talk about civil auxiliary service. This isn't about combat, it's about using your skills to make a positive impact on your community. Whether it's helping maintain law and order, lending a hand in rescue operations, or contributing to development projects, the Civil Auxiliary Service allows you to use your military training for the greater good. During the aftermath of Typhoon Yolanda, reservists were instrumental in providing aid and assistance to affected communities. They helped distribute relief goods, rebuild homes, and provide medical care. This is a prime example of how the Civil Auxiliary Service can make a real difference in people's lives. Republic Act 7077, the Reservist Bible. Finally, let's not forget Republic Act 7077. This is the cornerstone of the reserve force. It sets out the rules, regulations, and everything you need to know about being a reservist. It's essential reading for anyone interested in serving their country in this capacity. Think of it as the Swiss military law, which has a long history of citizen soldiers dating back to the 13th century. They maintained a militia system where every able-bodied man was expected to serve, ensuring a strong and prepared defense force. Who are considered as reservists? Let's break down who exactly makes up the ranks of our esteemed reservists. Remember, these are the citizen soldiers who form the backbone of our reserve force, ready to step up when their country calls. 1. ROTC graduates, a legacy of leadership. First up, we have the graduates of the Reserve Officers Training Corps ROTC. You've probably seen them on your campuses, diligently undergoing military training. These individuals, after completing their basic and advanced courses, are officially enlisted as reservists or reserve officers in the AFP. Think of them as the modern-day counterparts of the samurai, the warrior class of feudal Japan who are known for their loyalty, discipline, and martial skills. 2. Graduates of basic military training, skills ready for service. Next, we have those who have completed authorized basic military training. These individuals have already acquired the fundamental skills needed for military service and are enlisted as reservists or reserve officers. It's like the Gurkhas of Nepal, renowned for their bravery and combat skills, who have been serving in the British Army for over 200 years. 3. Ex-servicemen and retired officers, experience and expertise. We also welcome ex-servicemen and retired officers from the AFP and other allied armed forces. These veterans bring a wealth of experience and expertise to the reserve force. Think of them as the French Foreign Legion, a renowned military unit that has attracted soldiers from all over the world for centuries, each bringing their unique skills and perspectives. 4. Recognized World War II guerrillas, a tribute to valor. Our reservists also include recognized World War II guerrillas who were honorably discharged. These brave individuals fought valiantly for our country during a time of great adversity. Their dedication and courage serve as an inspiration to us all, much like the Hak Balahap resistance fighters who played a significant role in the Philippine liberation from Japanese occupation. 5. Affiliated Reserves and NDCP graduates, a network of expertise. We also have commissioned and non-commissioned officers under the Affiliated Reserves category, as well as graduates of the National Defense College of the Philippines NDCP. These individuals bring specialized knowledge and skills to the reserve force, forming a network of expertise akin to the Israeli Defense Forces reserves, known for their technological prowess and adaptability. 6. Commissioned, non-commissioned officers, and privates, a diverse force. Finally, our reservists include commissioned and non-commissioned officers, as well as privates, enlisted under existing laws. This diverse group represents a wide range of backgrounds, talents, and experiences, making the reserve force a truly representative force of the Filipino people, much like the citizen armies of Switzerland and Finland, known for their strong sense of national identity and commitment to defense. So there you have it. A diverse and dedicated group of individuals makes up the ranks of our reserve force. Now that we've covered who can become a reservist, let's dive into how they're categorized within the reserve force. Think of this as similar to how athletes are grouped by age in sports leagues, ensuring fair competition and appropriate challenges for each group. Categorization of citizen soldiers, a three-tier system. Under Republic Act 7077, our reservists are divided into three categories based on their age. First category reserve 1835 years old, the young and the restless. This is where our youngest and fittest reservists fall. These are the individuals who are typically fresh out of training, eager to serve, and at the peak of their physical capabilities. They're like the Spartan warriors of ancient Greece, renowned for their rigorous training and unwavering discipline, who were considered the best soldiers in the world. Second category reserve 3651 years old, the seasoned veterans. Next, we have the second category reserve, composed of individuals with more life experience and often extensive military service. These seasoned veterans bring a wealth of knowledge and skills to the table. They're like the centurions of the Roman legions, experienced officers who had risen through the ranks and were known for their leadership and tactical expertise. Third category reserve 51+ years old, the wise elders. The third category reserve is made up of the most senior reservists. These individuals might not be as physically fit as their younger counterparts, but they offer invaluable wisdom, experience, and institutional knowledge. Think of them as the Druids of Celtic society, revered for their wisdom, counsel, and knowledge of ancient traditions. Why categorize? You might be wondering, why do we bother with these categories? Well, it's not just about age. Each category has different roles and responsibilities within the reserve force. For example, the first category reserve is often called upon for active duty in times of conflict or national emergencies. The second category reserve might focus on training and mentoring younger reservists, while the third category reserve could provide expertise in areas like planning, logistics, and administration. This categorization system ensures that our reserve force is well organized, efficient, and capable of responding to a wide range of challenges. It's a bit like the caste system in ancient India, where each group had specific duties and responsibilities to maintain social order and stability. So, there you have it. The categorization of reservists is a key aspect of our reserve force structure. It ensures that we have the right people in the right roles at the right time, ready to serve our country when needed. Let's discuss the reserve force structure. We've covered the categories of reservists based on age. Now, let's explore how these reservists are further grouped into different units based on their readiness for deployment. Classification of reserve force units: ready, standby, and retired. Just like different units in a military have specialized roles, the reserve force is also divided into three main categories. Ready reserve, the first responders. Think of the ready reserve as the first line of defense, the rapid response team of the reserve force. They are primarily composed of young, fit reservists from the first category reserve. These are the individuals who are trained and equipped to be mobilized quickly in times of crisis, natural disasters, or even local unrest. They're like the Swiss Guard, the elite military unit that has protected the Pope for over 500 years, always ready to defend the Vatican City. However, the ready reserve isn't just for the young and energetic. Reservists from the second and third category reserves can also volunteer to join if they're qualified and fit for duty. Additionally, those working in essential services like power, water, transportation, and communication are automatically classified as ready reserve, regardless of their age. Their skills are crucial for maintaining stability in times of crisis, just like the role played by the British Home Guard during World War II, protecting vital infrastructure and supporting the regular army. Standby reserve, the backup force. The standby reserve is like the reserves in a rugby match, ready to step in when the main team needs a breather or reinforcements. Primarily composed of reservists from the second and third category reserves. They aren't immediately deployable, but can be mobilized in times of national emergency or war. They undergo annual training to keep their records updated and maintain a basic level of readiness. Similar to the Territorial Army in the United Kingdom, they provide a valuable source of manpower and expertise when needed. Retired reserve, the elder statesman. Finally, we have the retired reserve, composed of reservists who have reached retirement age 65 years old or have retired due to length of service or disability. While they are no longer required to serve, their experience and knowledge are still valuable. In exceptional circumstances, if they volunteer and are still fit for duty, they can be called upon to serve, particularly if their specific skills are needed. They are like the retired samurai of feudal Japan, who, even in their twilight years, were still respected for their wisdom and martial expertise. So, there you have it. The ready, standby, and retired reserves each play a unique and essential role in our national defense strategy. Understanding their roles and responsibilities helps us appreciate the diverse talents and capabilities within our reserve force. Let's talk about how we put our reserve force into action. This is where the concept of mobilization comes into play. Concept of mobilization, from citizen to soldier. Mobilization is the process of activating and assembling military personnel and resources for active duty. It's like a well-choreographed dance, where each reservist knows their role and steps onto the stage when the music starts. In the Philippine Army, mobilization is a multi-stage process, carefully planned and executed to ensure a smooth transition from civilian life to military service. Stages in the conduct of mobilization, a 4-step process. Stage 1: Pre-mobilization phase, the preparation. Think of this as the pre-game warm-up, where athletes stretch and strategize before the match. In the pre-mobilization phase, the Philippine Army focuses on recruitment, training, and organization of reservists. They are prepared for potential mobilization through exercises and drills. Similar to how the Swiss military conducts regular training for its reservists, ensuring they're always ready to defend their country. Stage to call-up phase, the activation. This is when the call to action comes. Upon a declaration of mobilization by authorities, reservists receive their orders and report to designated centers. They undergo orientation, processing, and are equipped for deployment. This phase is akin to the ancient Roman practice of calling up legions when the empire faced a threat, with soldiers gathering at designated points before marching to war. Stage 3: Deployment phase, the action. Now it's game time. With all units fully staffed and equipped, the mobilized forces are deployed to address the crisis. Whether it's external aggression, internal threats, or natural disasters, this is where the training and preparation pay off, much like how the Israeli Defense Forces reservists are quickly integrated into active units during times of conflict, contributing their unique skills and experience. Stage for demobilization phase, the transition. After the crisis has been resolved, it's time for the forces to stand down. This phase involves the orderly withdrawal, redeployment, or retention of personnel, returning the military to its peacetime posture. It's like the end of a football match, where players cool down and reflect on the game. In the Philippines, the demobilization process includes support for reservists in transitioning back to civilian life, such as the program offered by the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office. The Army Reserve Command, the conductor of the orchestra. The entire mobilization process is overseen by the Army Reserve Command, the unit responsible for managing and coordinating all aspects of reserve force utilization. They ensure that the right people are in the right place at the right time, much like a conductor leading an orchestra to create a harmonious symphony. Understanding this concept of mobilization is crucial for all aspiring military leaders. It's about more than just calling up reservists. It's about strategically utilizing the full potential of our citizen soldiers to ensure the safety and security of our nation. Let's explore how our versatile reserve force can be deployed across different scenarios, from peacetime to wartime. Think of them as the Swiss Army knife of our armed forces, equipped with various tools for different situations. Tri-spectrum utilization of the reserve force, peacetime, crisis, and wartime. Peacetime deployment, building a strong foundation. During peaceful times, the reserve force isn't sitting idle. They're constantly engaged in training, organizing, and maintaining their readiness. This is like the meticulous maintenance of the Great Wall of China, ensuring it remains a formidable barrier even when there are no immediate threats. In the Philippines, reservists participate in community events, disaster preparedness drills, and skills enhancement training, ensuring they are prepared for any eventuality. Crisis deployment, responding to threats and disasters. When a crisis strikes, whether it's a natural disaster like a typhoon or a security threat like an insurgency, the reserve force can be called upon to provide support. They might help maintain order, assist in rescue and relief operations, or even provide medical aid. This is similar to the role of the Civil Defense Forces in Singapore, a volunteer organization trained to respond to emergencies and support civil authorities. In the Philippines, we've seen reservists play a crucial role in assisting communities during typhoons and floods, distributing aid and providing medical assistance. Civil auxiliary service, for non-military tasks like maintaining order and providing assistance during disasters. Reservists can volunteer for civil auxiliary service. They won't be armed but will be trained to support local authorities. Military auxiliary service, in cases of local insurgency or security threats. Reservists can be activated for military auxiliary service. They will be armed and trained to defend their communities, similar to the Home Guard units formed in various countries during World War II. Wartime deployment, defending the nation. In the unfortunate event of war, the reserve force becomes a crucial part of our national defense. They are mobilized and integrated into the regular forces, filling critical roles and augmenting our military's capabilities. This is reminiscent of the Israeli Defense Forces, where reservists are seamlessly integrated into regular units during conflicts, providing a significant boost in manpower and expertise. The specific deployment of the reserve force during wartime will depend on the overall strategy of the AFP. This could involve air, naval, or ground operations, or even unconventional warfare tactics. If the enemy manages to occupy our territory, the reserve force is not just a backup plan. They are an essential part of our national defense strategy, ready to serve across a spectrum of situations. Their commitment and dedication to the country make them a force to be reckoned with. Let's discuss the different types of mobilization and what they mean for you as future reservists. Remember, mobilization is the process of activating reservists for active duty, and it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Types of mobilization: full, partial, and selective. Full mobilization, all hands on deck. Imagine this as a general alarm sounding throughout the military, signaling an all-out response. Full mobilization happens when the situation demands the maximum strength of the armed forces of the Philippines. It requires the joint approval of Congress and the President. This means every unit in the Ready Reserve and Standby Reserve is activated, and all reservists are called to active duty. It's like the mobilization of the British Army during World War I, where millions of men were conscripted to fight on the Western Front. Partial mobilization, a targeted response. Partial mobilization is a more measured approach. It also requires the joint approval of Congress and the President. However, instead of activating all reserve units, only those necessary to address the specific threat are mobilized. The President determines which units are called up. Think of this as similar to the mobilization of specific reserve units in Israel during the Yom Kippur War, when the country faced a surprise attack from its neighbors. Selective mobilization, local support. This type of mobilization is authorized by the President alone and is typically used to address local threats or emergencies. Only selected units from the Ready Reserve in the affected areas are activated, or new auxiliary units are formed with volunteer reservists. It's like the activation of local militias during the Philippine-American War, where Filipino communities organized themselves for defense against the American forces. Status of reservists under mobilization, rights and benefits. When you're called to active duty, you're entitled to the same pay, allowances, medical care, and other benefits as active duty personnel. This is to ensure that your service is recognized and rewarded, just like the citizen soldiers of ancient Rome who received land and other benefits for their military service. Mobilization centers, your rallying point. Mobilization centers are established in each province, designated reporting points for reservists when mobilization is ordered. These centers are strategically located and widely publicized to ensure that every reservist knows where to go. Think of them as the mustering points for the samurai in feudal Japan, where warriors would gather before heading into battle. So, there you have it, the different types of mobilization and the procedures involved. Understanding these concepts is crucial for every reservist, as it prepares you for the various scenarios you might face when called upon to serve your country. Remember, Mobilization is not just about calling up reservists. It's about activating a well-trained and prepared force to protect our nation and its people. Now that we've covered the mobilization of reservists, let's talk about what happens when the threat is over. This is where demobilization and deactivation come into play. Concept of demobilization, deactivation, returning to civilian life. Demobilization and deactivation are the processes of releasing reservists from active duty and returning them to civilian life or inactive status. It's like the end credits of a movie, signaling the conclusion of a chapter and the transition to the next. Demobilization procedures, a smooth transition. 1. Presidential order. The process begins with the president ordering the demobilization of activated reserve units. Think of it as the referee blowing the final whistle at the end of a game. 2. Deactivation orders. The Chief of Staff of the AFP then issues orders to deactivate the mobilized units, and the reservists within those units are reverted to inactive status. This is like a coach instructing the team to leave the field after the match. 3. Processing at mobilization centers. Reservists return to the same mobilization centers where they were initially activated. Here, they undergo a series of procedures, including accounting for personnel and equipment, debriefings, physical examinations, and the processing of claims for awards and benefits. This is similar to the post-mission debriefings conducted by Special Forces units, ensuring that every detail accounted for and lessons are learned. Auxiliary service, beyond combat. Beyond mobilization, reservists can also volunteer for auxiliary service during peacetime. This allows them to contribute their skills and training to their communities in 2 ways. 1. Civil auxiliary service. This involves assisting in maintaining law and order, disaster relief, health services, and other non-military activities. Think of it as a reservist version of the Red Cross, providing humanitarian aid and support. 2. Military auxiliary service. This involves serving in ready reserve units to address local security threats, such as insurgencies. Reservists in this service are armed and trained for defense, similar to the role of local defense forces in countries like Sweden and Finland. Status of reservists on auxiliary service. Serving with pride. Reservists on auxiliary service may not receive regular pay, but they are entitled to allowances and burial benefits. Some may even choose to serve without receiving any allowances, demonstrating their dedication to their communities. This echoes the spirit of volunteerism seen in organizations like the Philippine Red Cross, where individuals selflessly offer their time and skills to help others. Women reservists, breaking barriers. Importantly, women have equal rights and duties to serve in the AFP, including the reserve force. Their contributions are vital to our national defense. This reflects the growing trend of women in the military worldwide, with countries like Israel and Norway having mandatory military service for women. So, there you have it. The demobilization process and the concept of auxiliary service are crucial aspects of the reserve force system. They ensure that reservists can smoothly transition between active duty and civilian life, while also providing opportunities for continued service to the community. Let's now take a closer look at the diverse backgrounds of our reservist officers and enlisted personnel. It's a motley crew, much like the legendary Band of Brothers from World War II, where soldiers from various walks of life came together to fight for a common cause. 1. Reservist officers, leaders from various walks of life. Our officer corps is a melting pot of talent and experience. Our ROTC graduates. These individuals have honed their leadership skills through rigorous training and education, similar to the officer training academies of many nations, like the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst in the UK. Former PC officers. These officers bring a wealth of experience in law enforcement and security, similar to the Gendarmerie Nationale in France, a military force with law enforcement duties. Former AFP members in the PNP. These individuals have served in both military and police roles. offering a unique blend of skills and perspectives, much like the Carabinieri in Italy. A military police force with a wide range of responsibilities. Retired officers from the AFP and allied forces, these seasoned veterans bring a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the table. Similar to the Bundeswehr reservists in Germany, who often hold high-ranking positions in civilian life. Affiliated reserves and NDCP graduates, these individuals have specialized knowledge in various fields, contributing to the diverse capabilities of the reserve force. Much like the Singapore Armed Forces reservists, who come from various professional backgrounds. Commissioned officers under RA 718 and other laws. This category encompasses a wide range of individuals who have been commissioned through various legal avenues, demonstrating the diverse pathways to becoming a reservist officer. 2. Enlisted reservists, the backbone of the force. Our enlisted reservists are the backbone of the reserve force, providing crucial support in various roles. Our ROTC graduates, these individuals have completed basic military training, equipping them with fundamental skills for service, similar to the conscripts in the Swiss Armed Forces, who undergo mandatory military training. Graduates of other military training, this includes those who have completed training programs, like CAFGU Basic Military Training, Basic Citizen Military Training, and others. They bring a diverse range of skills and experiences to the force, much like the Gurkha soldiers, who are recruited from Nepal and known for their bravery and resilience. Former PC and AFP members in the PNP, similar to the officer corps. These individuals have experience in both military and police roles, providing valuable insights and capabilities. Ex-servicemen from the AFP and allied forces, these veterans have served their time in active duty and continue to contribute their knowledge and skills to the reserve force. Affiliated reserves, these individuals are employed in essential industries and services, providing support in areas like power, water, and transportation. Think of them as the modern-day equivalent of the ancient Roman engineers, who built roads, bridges, and aqueducts to support the empire's military operations. Enlisted personnel under existing laws. This category encompasses a wide range of individuals who have enlisted through various legal avenues, demonstrating the diverse pathways to becoming a reservist. Former CAFGU members, these individuals have prior experience in paramilitary service, contributing to the reserve force's capabilities in local security operations. So, there you have it. Our reserve force is made up of individuals from all walks of life, each bringing their unique skills and experiences to serve our nation. It's a testament to the diversity and strength of the Filipino people, united in their commitment to defend our country. Let's now shift our focus to the practical aspects of managing our reserve force. Think of this as the inventory management of a logistics unit, ensuring that all resources are accounted for and ready for deployment. Registration and accounting of reservists, keeping tabs on our citizen soldiers. Every reservist, especially those in the ready and standby reserves, needs to be accounted for. We need to know their current status, location, and skills to ensure they're prepared to answer the call to duty. This is similar to how the ancient Romans conducted a census every 5 years to keep track of their citizens and resources. In the Philippines, we utilize a comprehensive registration and accounting system for our reservists. This involves updating their records, tracking their whereabouts, and assessing their skills. It's a bit like how modern militaries use digital systems to track personnel and equipment, ensuring that everything is organized and readily available. Priority in registration, last out, first in LOFI. When it comes to registering reservists, we follow a last out, first in LOFI principle. This means that the most recent graduates from our ROTC or Basic Citizen Military Training BCMT are given priority. It's like a queue where the latest arrivals get served first. This ensures that our ready reserve is always filled with the most recently trained and motivated individuals. Removal from the ready reserve, first in, first out FIFO. Conversely, when we need to remove reservists from the ready reserve, due to age or other factors, we use a first-in, first-out FIFO approach. This means that those who have served the longest are the first to be transferred to the standby reserve. Think of it as a seniority system where the most experienced members move on two different roles: registration targets and flexibility. Each year, we set minimum registration targets based on our manpower needs. However, if we have additional funds or a larger pool of potential reservists, we can exceed these targets. It's like a business adapting to market demand, adjusting its production to meet customer needs. In the Philippines, we've seen a growing interest in joining the reserve force, especially among young people who want to serve their country. This presents an opportunity to expand our reserves and strengthen our national defense. Utilizing reservist and veterans organizations, we also tap into the resources of national and local reservist and veterans organizations to assist in the registration and accounting process. These organizations are valuable partners in our efforts to maintain a well-organized and effective reserve force. They're like the veterans associations in many countries, providing support and camaraderie for former service members. Let's now discuss the leadership of our reserve force units. Imagine this as selecting the captains for your sports teams, ensuring they have the right skills and experience to lead effectively. Policies on the designation of commanders of reserve units. Leadership in peace and war. Peacetime commanders, the orchestrators. During peacetime, commanders of reserve units, from divisions down to companies, are designated to manage the day-to-day activities of the reservists. They are responsible for accounting, organizing training, and fostering camaraderie within their units. Think of them as the conductors of an orchestra, ensuring that every instrument plays in harmony. Acting versus full-time commanders, flexibility in leadership. In peacetime, these commanders hold their positions in an acting capacity. However, in the event of war, they can be designated as full-time commanders. This flexibility allows the military to adapt its leadership structure to the situation at hand, much like how the Roman army appointed temporary dictators during times of crisis. Officer in charge, filling the leadership gap. In the absence of qualified reserve officers, an officer in charge may be designated to lead the unit. This ensures that there is always someone in charge, even when a dedicated commander is unavailable. This is similar to how a second-in-command steps up in the absence of the captain in a naval vessel. Approval authority, a chain of command. The designation of commanders follows a clear chain of command. The commanding general of the Philippine Army is the sole approving authority for division commanders, while lower-level commanders are approved by their respective superiors. This is like the hierarchical structure of the ancient Egyptian army, where each rank reported to a higher authority. Eligibility requirements. Selecting the best. Reservist officers must meet specific requirements to be considered for command positions. These include rank, education, specialization, age, service reputation, and physical and mental fitness. The selection process is based on merit and voluntary service, ensuring that the most qualified individuals are chosen to lead. This is reminiscent of the rigorous selection process for officers in the Prussian army, known for its high standards and professionalism. The leadership and utilization of the reserve force are critical aspects of our national defense strategy. By understanding the roles and responsibilities of commanders and the diverse ways in which reservists can contribute, we can appreciate the full potential of this valuable resource. So there you have it, future defenders of the nation. We've just scratched the surface of the reserve force, delving into its structure, categories, mobilization procedures, and diverse roles. Remember, the reserve force isn't just a backup plan. It's a vital component of our national defense, a testament to the strength and resilience of the Filipino people. As you embark on your own military journey, consider the profound impact you can make as part of this noble force. Whether you're called upon to defend our borders, assist in disaster relief, or contribute to your community, your service will make a difference. Remember, the Reserve Force is not just about military training. It's about dedication, sacrifice, and unwavering love for our country. It's about being part of something bigger than yourself, a brotherhood and sisterhood of patriots who stand shoulder to shoulder in service to the Philippines. So, as you move forward, carry the spirit of the Reserve Force with you. Embrace the challenge, answer the call, and serve your country with honor, courage, and commitment. This is your chance to become a true Filipino hero, a guardian of our nation's security and prosperity. The future of our nation rests in your hands. Go forth and make us proud.